So
Okay.
Great.
Okay, we're gonna let you record.
I'm so
He
glad
likes to keep all.
you're a high techie.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So this is the Vanguard University. I title my talk 50 Years of Reflection on America in the Context of Gap Eul. I met Dr. Bill at Oxford Center for Mission Study. That's him behind. I passed my oral exam and the happiest day in my life after 9 struggle years, but he's my also writing buddy. He accompanied me to Mexico, border of Mexico. Last time we're riding together. The difference between him and me, I wear a nice, cool JC helmet, Jesus Christ helmet. You know. Actually, it's HJC, but I erase H, so it's just JC. But since official, why don't we start with Paksu? Okay, great. A little bit about me. I was born 1961, fifth child of 5 children, a medical doctor in Korea. My dad wrote something against the dictatorship, and so we got kicked out of the country. 1973, I was 12 years old. So what happens when you bring a 12-year-old to America and he lives there 50 years? He becomes Korean American. Oh, this is so cool. I'm going to do it again. So when you bring a 12-year-old boy to America, and then 50 years makes him Korean American. What does that mean in street language? He's banana. He's yellow outside, white inside, according to Professor Hwa Young. And I'm happily married for 39 years. Brother, 39 years happily. I have 3 grown-up children.
I know, Jenny, you be careful.
And 3 grown children, and I'm married to an angel. It goes on record. I show this to her every time I do recording. I lived 50 years of 246 years of American history. So I lived through 20% of USA history. That's kind of mind-boggling. Think about it. And I lived 50 years as Korean out of 4,355-year-old country. So I lived through 0.01% of Korean history. So my perspective as Korean American is off balance, and it's very, very personal. So my introductory story of, you know what UA is? When we talk about UA in Cambodia, it means ugly American. I met this ugly American at fake Starbucks coffee shop at Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh, 2010, they did not have Starbucks, and so they built this fake Starbucks. And I was mesmerized. I was sitting there, and this guy spoke with, I think, complete Texas accent. Walked in, big white guy walks in, literally threw a $10 bill at the guy's face, the cashier. Threw a $10 bill at his face and said, "Bring me some coffee." I sat there, what a freaking idiot, you know. I was so dumbfounded, and that he represent American, that I belong to his race, you know. I was sitting there, oh my God, please speak with Australian accent. Oh, please speak with English accent. No, it was Texas accent. You know, I knew he was American. How do you throw a $10 bill at anywhere in the world and think it's okay? I've been to 64 countries. Not a single country I visited. You should not do that, right? Well, so Dr. Bill asked me, would you have time between now to watch Extraordinary Attorney Woo? And I'm sure you all watched. And of course, I watched the entire episodes. I was so glad. And I did some little bit of research on her. Well, and actually the research reveals some of the interesting facts about Korea, and it add value to my understanding. So I'm very thankful that I'm teaching this course or this lecture. The entire 16 segment cost only $15 million. That was their entire budget. It ran by Netflix, and it was aired 2022, June 29th through August 18th. And it, considering how much money does America usually spend, anywhere from $50 to $100 million per movie, right? Usually spend about 200 million if it's a good one. But this episode was done by a tiny company called A Story in Korea. And if you see, it started 2004, then you see this Korean channel going down. And then 2019, they do this mega hit through Netflix. Their first mega hit was Kingdom. The Korean zombie through Netflix hit #1, Netflix. And most tweeted in the world of the drama was #1, Kingdom. So this little tiny company did really well, right? And then in Korea, it was aired through very unknown channel called ENA. Nobody watches that. But they didn't care. Why? Because they're shooting it through Netflix. They're shooting it through the Korean web. They're shooting it through YouTube. They're shooting it through Facebook. So basically, they figured it out. The Korean K-drama people figured out that you produce something locally, but you market globally. I think this book that you read, I bought this, I think last year, but I forgot to read. And so I'm going to read it because I'm doing this thing called book talk. I read book a week and then do a YouTube thing. And so that was one of in my list. I just forgot to read. But Extraordinary Attorney Woo, it's very interesting because A Story decided to tweak even the title. Because when you translate Extraordinary Attorney Woo, it becomes 특별한 우 변호사 in Korean. But that's not what it says. In Korean, it's 이상한 변호사 우영우, which means weird attorney Woo Young-woo. And so when it's spoken in Korean, everybody understands. And to be saying weird is not weird. But to say weird in global context, especially in America, it does not sit well. So they decided we're going to make this locally made drama, but we're going to globally market this. Okay. So when they aired, unbelievable stuff happening. That only it hit 4% the TV share in Korea, which is incredible rating. I mean, because literally you're competing with 1,000 other programs. And this Woo Young-woo hit 4% in Korea by July 7th. It was aired starting June. But guess what? By August, in Vietnam, it hit 35% in Vietnam.
Right.
My goodness, how does that happen, right? I was in Vietnam. I travel through 64 countries. I go to Vietnam quite often. One of the popular drama was played in Vietnam, and literally everything stopped. The taxi driver refused to work because they have to watch this Korean drama. So the Saigon, the city of Saigon literally stopped. And I'm thinking, this is very peculiar phenomenon. Well, so then Pastor or Dr. BP asked me, well, share a little bit about your experience coming to America as a kid and the culture that growing up here. Well, my little talk, I dug up my book that I wrote, 2020. I wrote a book called To Live as Korean American Post-COVID-19 Pandemic. I wrote that May 18, 2020, right after pandemic was declared pandemic. March 10th, WHO declared pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So I decided to write a book because it was horrible for Asian to live through that, especially some crazy man became president in America. And was encouraging hate against Asians. The crime rate against Asians jumped 600%, just reported. So probably about 1,200% unreported, because I was abused. I never had to report to police. So as Asian, and I lived here 50 years, I lived 20% of American history. And some idiot wants to abuse me because, who are you from? Where are you from? Idiot, I'm from LA, and the book that I published after my PhD, Gap Eul. Gap Eul is a product of my PhD research on patron-client relationship in Cambodia. And I did my 9 years of suffering at that campus, or 2 years living at Oxford, and finally wrote my PhD thesis called Patron-Client Relationship in Cross-Cultural Church Planting, Case Study of Cambodia Bible College, 1998-2015. But when it was all said and done, I passed the oral exam and got graduated, I wrote a book, Gap Eul Relationship. Basically, Gap Eul is Korean word for patron-client relationship. And I see my experience. This is very personal. And I'm not saying this is objective thing. This is a very personal thing. Ever since 1970s. When I came to America, America was a super Gap. It was a super patron. Wow, America was a great nation. At age 12, coming to America, I saw for the first time in my life color TV. Well, no one had TV in Korea anyways. And if they did, it was black and white. And when I came to America in 1973, wow, it was color TV, right? I was so impressed. And of course, 1970, of course, US was the #1 GDP. It was already $1.1 trillion. The next runner-up was USSR for about half of that, right? US was producing 31% of world goods, right? So, I mean, it's huge. Japan was fourth. Korea, where's Korea here? 1970, right there.
Wow.
Yeah, we were the poorest country. Actually, US gave rice to Korea 1970, right? So imagine a guy, a little boy from that country come to America. These are the 3 questions that was, where are you from? And I will say, Korea. Second question, where is Korea? And then third question, so do you know Kung Fu? Right? Well, different country. Well, so they thought that Bruce Lee was Korean and Kung Fu was Korean martial art. Okay. But it was okay because Korea was pretty much meaningless country, in a little boy's eyes. Culver City Junior High. It was right above Beverly Hills. And I was, I think, 6th Asian in the entire school in the junior high. So that was okay. I just kind of lived through that. Then by the time 1988 came, something started shifting. America is no longer super Gap from my perspective. It's like, what's going on here? Well, what happened? 1986, Hyundai start exporting their car, Hyundai Excel. It's Hyundai, not Hyundai, but anyways, Hyundai. And 1986, as a little boy who came to America, nobody knew where Korea was. Now we are actually exporting cars to America. You know what does that to a self-esteem to a little boy? Right? Is there a car manufactured by Mexico sold in America? I don't think so. What about Canada? Does Canada produce cars? No, I don't think so. What's any other country? Japan, right? So when Korea started producing cars in 1986, something started kicking in, Of course, 1988, Korea did Olympics, right? And wow, there's a major shift in my identity and who I am as Korean American, but Korean. And then by the time 2001, Incheon Airport opened up. Have you been to Incheon Airport? after experiencing Korean airport, Incheon airport, you come back to LAX and you think, what a dump. You know, this is
This is the way we pronounce this word is Incheon, and
right.
it's not Seoul. It's not the capital of the country.
That's right.
Incheon is a secondary city. And Bob, can I get you just to pause for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Gap and Eul, the two words. Gap is the word for. Does it mean patron or does it mean like superior?
Patron is just like the word said, one who provides, one who with power, one who is a
Right.
leader. So patron, that's why I always want to talk about Gap and Eul, because the dynamic relationship between missionaries and Cambodians are not really patron-client, because their culture do not have patron-client relationship. They have Gap and Eul relationship, which is more Asian than Western.
And the word is it pronounced
Eul. Eul.
Does it mean like the client or the lower
Right.
status,
Right.
correct?
In English is senior and junior.
Okay.
In
Just so
Japanese,
you guys
Reabung and Kobong. So very similar.
And Korea is a very status
Right.
conscious country.
Right.
They've looked at Hofstede's work, so they're aware of the status relationship.
Right.
Just to
Very
clarify the word.
hierarchical. Very hierarchical.
Right.
And Gap and Eul is decided by your education, your salary, your age, and so you gotta know your age. They always ask, how old are you? Because if you are same age, it's called 동갑, which means same gap. So equal gap. And then you could actually, then there's 7 different level of English language. I mean, language category. And you could use the 반말, which is the last bottom rung of the language. Anyway, so yeah, Gap and Eul is more of the hierarchy of the culture, the people. So this is when the Incheon airport happened, and this is like, so far of the 64 countries, other than Singapore, this is pretty top notch. So now what happened? Someone asked, where are you from? I usually say Los Angeles. They said, no, where are you really from? Oh, I talk about, oh, you're talking about where I'm from originally. And then I always say, so where are you from? You know, which part of Europe are you from? Say, oh, no, that's not what I meant. Sorry, you know. And then when I say, where's, and then if they ask, where's Korea? Then I say, you imbecile? Are you stupid or something? You really don't know where Korea is? Really? You don't know where Korea is? The country that sells Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, and Olympic, and the country that BTS was, I mean, you know, so pretty much by 88, my understanding of who I am, I don't have to defend myself or feel sorry for myself as being Korean. And nobody says about Kung Fu, there's now Taekwondo, because Taekwondo has become official Olympic sports, right? And my father-in-law is the one who brought Taekwondo into America, 1964, and put Taekwondo as official sports in America. So yeah. So by 1910, though, I mean, not 1910, 2010, America was very perplexed for me. It was not like, it wasn't even at the borderline. It was a borderline. Are we becoming inferior country? You know? What's going on? Are we Gap or are we Eul, right? This is my personal take on America. I'm not saying this is objective. It's very subjective. Why? Because Gangnam Style came 2012. And when this crazy guy named Psy, which is actually my older sister's family friend. So Psy, when he was studying in America, would come to my sister's house and then always goof around and entertain the whole family. He was just born entertainer. So when Psy became into Gangnam Style, and his YouTube hit first billion before Michael Jackson, before Lady Gaga, before any of the rock stars in America or all over the world, when Psy hit first billion, everybody thought like, wait a minute, it wasn't, you don't need $100 million advertising campaign to become famous. you could do stupid thing like Gangnam Style. Have you seen it? It's the most stupidest. It's like, this is,
How many of you have seen this guy on YouTube?
of course,
Reagan,
right? It's like
everybody?
probably costing $10,000 to make,
And Gangnam is a place, it's a part of Seoul, isn't it, Robert?
Yes, Gangnam
Gangnam?
is the happening place in Seoul.
Yeah, it's like a place to go and party.
Yeah. And then by 2017, in my book, America has become Eul. That's the year that America voted someone into the election and voted as a president, and 82% of evangelical Christian voted in. This is not a political statement. I'm just so saddened by the fact that I was at Oxford at the time, and all the Oxford professor will come to me and ask, so there are Christians in America, correct? I said, yes, sir. So you actually voted that imbecile into the office? I said, yes, sir. So I wrote a whole book, how to live and survive as Korean American post COVID-19, because I believe the post COVID-19 will be an era that completely undone. It's not, God has reset actually something. And in America, and this is crazy part, when I travel, and I'll be going to Kuala Lumpur also soon, and when I walk through Kuala Lumpur street, I feel much cleaner spiritually than walking in LA. Why? Because we have corrupted so much. I mean, now I talk to some of the teachers in Fullerton area. There's a school, public school in Fullerton area. The teachers happen to be Korean Americans. And now they're saying that the girls in my class are posting that how she has sex with the boy night before and now having sex with the girl next day. I'm a bi and I love it. And only way you could become popular in Fullerton public school is to claim that you're bisexual. And I'm thinking, that is just so sick, right? And it is so normal in America. And so I thought, man, well, America is still #1 GDP country, 20 trillion. And then all of a sudden, Korea pops up, 10th ranked. We become 1.6 trillion economy in the world. And I'm like, wow, it jumped from there all the way. You couldn't see that because it's blocking, but wow. Amazing progress. And of course, 2017, BTS. Yeah, BTS actually means in Korean, burning 똥구녕 sensation. 똥구녕 means butt end, but BTS became #1 group in Billboard. And then ever since 2017, they made Billboard nominated for winning Billboard every single year, ever since 2017, 2022, right? So my introductory story of ugly American at fake Starbucks in Phnom Penh. What happened to even Cambodia? This is 2010 Cambodia, right? So Dr. Bill asked me spend the rest of the time about what happened in Korea or Cambodia today for people who are our students age 25, 35. Well, this was Cambodia 2010. This was last few weeks ago, Cambodia 2022. Isn't that amazing? This was 2010. And this is 2020. In 12 years, it took them about 12 years to build this incredible place in Phnom Penh. Wow, this is the best shot picture, aerial shot, drone shot that I've seen so far. Beautiful.
Is that Phnom Penh?
Yes, sir. That's,
oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
So when Kai and I lived in Phnom Penh in 1993, there was no building taller than 6 stories. There were no working streets. The country had survived a civil war, but nothing worked. So my reference starts in 1993 with Phnom Penh. And so this is just recently a recent drone shot.
Yes, sir.
It's like this always looks to me like someone has dropped a city into this place from outer space. And that's only been what, that's almost 30 years.
See,
Amazing.
if you are smart, sir, you should have bought $5,000 worth of land right there by the bridge. Just $5,000 worth of land.
Yeah,
You will be $50 million strong today.
Yep, that wasn't smart.
And every street corner in Cambodia, they're playing 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다, the Squid Game.
And that came out of a Netflix. That was a Korean show that was on Netflix, right?
That's right. It was #1 drama in entire Netflix history. No one beat this. No American, no European drama beat the attendance of Squid Game. So they're working on season 2. The Strange Attorney Woo is also second season. They already signed with Netflix. So crazy thing about Cambodia now is when I sit at home and flip through Cambodian channels, every channel now air Korean drama in Khmer dubbing. And all the Korean dramas are now being dubbed and played all over the world, including Southeast Asia, and Iran, and it's just crazy. Now they're just building super shopping mall like Aeon Mall in Phnom Penh. This is the mall.
You have to remember that it was 1975 that this country had a civil war.
Yeah.
And they killed 3 million people in 3 years.
Right.
When I moved to this country in 1990, it was still AK-47s on the streets. The city was very dangerous. I watched a policeman shoot a boy in the head for getting him wet with his motorcycle.
Wow.
And now these are this is Phnom Penh?
Yeah, that's right. It's right next to my house. Shopping mall.
This is the thing that most of us that have lived in Asia have such a hard time helping Americans understand, is how quickly and how rapidly Asia is developing as the next world superpower. What the Americans can't seem to understand is that their day as a superpower is way over. They just cannot get their head around that.
So this one, and then so people ask, so do you go to Starbucks? I said, no. The hip people from age 25 to 25 especially would say, no, only old people go to Starbucks. So that Starbucks is part of this mall. So if you go Starbucks, they don't go. Actually, they go to Brown, where the young and hip people come. So you could even tell by the interior design how hip they are compared to Starbucks. Right. So it's quite outdated.
Who owns this company, Robert? Malaysia.
Yeah. So my America for me last 50 years from Super Gap, it has become Eul, unfortunately. And my prayer, I've been fasting and praying. I fast 21 days so that God would really do something for our country. You know, I think 2006, Dr. Bill Bright, the founder of CCC, Campus Crusade for Christ, he said, unless 2,000 American fast 40 days with me and repent and pray, God will punish this country with fire from heaven, and God would have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. That was 2006. So I joined the bandwagon and I fasted 40 days with him, but only a few hundred people joined. Yeah, I mean, I think this is time that we really need to fast and pray. Thank you. 박수.
Thank you, Robert. I knew Robert would share a perspective. As an American expat, it's very hard for me to speak as an outsider because